And we're live, the Beach Brothers Show. You're watching the Beach Brothers Show. Thank you for watching. Hey, it's going to be a great time tonight. I'm Seiko Varner, and next to me is this business bully. He's out there beating the streets in Virginia Beach. Give it up for Jose Cruz, all right?
How you doing, everybody?
All right. And next to Jose is our good friend who's running for City Council in Virginia Beach. Give it up for Conrad. All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. So Jose is our business bully. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do, Jose?
All right, Seiko. Good evening, brothers. In addition to offering life insurance needs, I also help clients and policyholders lock in their money and you exercise their safe money options so that they can always feel safe and secure knowing that they're gaining some kind of interest on their money, but they're not losing any at all. Because the stock market right now is not a place you want to be putting your money at, not if you want to keep some of it. And that's about it.
Beautiful. All right, good stuff. And Brother Conrad, tell us a little bit about your campaign, man.
Well, good July 9th evening, Beach Brothers Show viewers. I'm Conrad Chesviner, Virginia Beach Hotel front desk worker extraordinaire, member of the Virginia Beach Democrat Party, and candidate for Rose Hall seat on Virginia Beach City Council. As of today, I noticed I am at 436 likes for Conrad Chesviner for Virginia Beach's Facebook page. So make sure to stop by facebook.com/Conrad4VB and give that page a like. Also drop by raisethemoney.com/C.Chesventer and provide a modest donation to the Conrad Chesviner for Virginia Beach campaign. And if you'd like, I'll slip into some local news. Today it was reported 95 new COVID-19 cases in Norfolk, and that's a single day record. 25 new COVID cases in Newport News, also a single day record. The number of percent positive of COVID tests is rising in nearly every Virginia health district. Virginia COVID hospitalizations and COVID deaths also rising, according to WAVI. So be careful, folks. Be mindful of social distancing measures and COVID spread prevention measures like wearing a mask in public places. This news and other COVID-related news are still having ripple effects on the local scene. In its 47-year history of the event, the Virginia Beach Oceanfront will not have a Neptune Festival. Also, the state of Virginia for fiscal year 2020 has a $236.5 million deficit in the general fund. The shortfall was expected with COVID-19, but it was smaller than first thought. Even so, revenue increased 2% year on year. On the news front related specifically to the Rose Hall City Council seat, today the Honorable Cheryl Turpin has made the decision to stop her campaign for the Rose Hall seat. Turpin,
really?
Indeed. Turpin, a former House of Delegates member, sought to compete against myself, Gary Hubbard, and incumbent Michael Berlucci. I have spoken with Cheryl. She left a respectable message for me last night, and I called her back today when I was at work. She's focusing on helping her mother. Due to the demands of running a good campaign, it would take too much time away from helping her. So Delegate Turpin gracefully leaves the race. I respect Delegate Turpin. She's a good local leader in the Democrat Party too. And going forward, I hope my efforts for City Council will also help to issues she likes, like the environment and community safety. And speaking of going forward,
before we move forward, I wanted to take this moment to recognize Tally and Twine. I forgot to do so earlier on the show. Tally and Twine is one of our great sponsors. They have some great watches, and go to their website, tallyandtwine.com. Make sure you stay on time. Make sure you stay on time and you look fashionable. One of the great things about Tally and Twine is their watches are built right here in the 757, specifically in Portsmouth. Yeah, specifically in Portsmouth. So spend your money with Tally and Twine and always stay on time. Speaking about on time, Conrad, who's our guest today?
Well, right before I get to that, I was almost about to hear you say, stay on time with Tally and Twine. That would have been a nice little catchphrase.
I like that.
Speaking of time and speaking of going forward, the Beach Brothers are going to go forward and bring on Matthias Paul Telkamp. He's our guest, and he's running for the at-large seat on Virginia Beach School Board. Paul hails from Pampa, Texas, and went to Pampa High School, graduate 1994. Personally, I'm curious if you could tell us of the June 8th, 1995 EF4 Pampa tornado. I mentioned that because I grew up watching a lot of National Geographic and Weather Channel videos, and that was a prominent tornado. He moved to the area in 2009 due to the Great Recession. He received a 2002 VOTEC certificate and has been in IT, focusing on communications, development, software architecture, and process automation. Today, Paul is a consultant. He's building a software company, and he runs an Airbnb. He's been raising 3 kids at 3 different schools, a difficult task after his wife passed away. Dealing with multiple school systems has shown him there's a lack of direction in relation to IT. And that leads us to ask, Mr. Telkamp, the Beach Brothers is curious why you're seeking the at-large nomination to the Virginia Beach School Board in 2020.
Well, first, let me address the tornado that you brought up, because yes, I was there, and I was initially driving from into Pampa when that started. I stopped about 15 miles out, and what they don't tell you is that there are 6 tornadoes that all touched down at the same time, that were all headed into Pampa. And there were a total of 12 that night. There just happened to be that one EF4. So I am running for school board because I've seen too many times the failures of the school system. 4 years ago, I had a daughter that was sick, went to the nurse's office, and even though I was the primary custody and my ex had already passed away, guess who they called first? They called her. And that was the first year that I had students in multiple schools, and I needed to go to each school in order to get the information changed. Getting paperwork in triplicate every year is another thing that I constantly deal with. And talking with teachers, there are many paper-based processes that could be automated and streamlined.
All right. Good evening, Mr. Telkamp. My first question for you is, back in September 2018, Virginia Beach School Board adopted a 15-year master plan to rebuild schools. As it stands now, the annual city budget gives roughly $1 billion, $1 billion to schools. Excuse me. But it isn't enough to meet the demands of this project, plus everything else schools need. On school board now, how much of a priority will it be to join forces with everyone to push for more revenue to not delay school rebuilding?
It's going to be imperative. We need to ramp up school building, and we need to make it a priority. Schools are falling down with their kids inside. We have schools with entire wings that are closed, and it's a travesty that past boards and administrations were not able to properly plan for the needs. We can't count on Richmond to help us. There's already rules in place to prevent them from funding our school district in that manner. We can and we should work with our federal representatives, though, to make sure that we can secure the funding through school improvement initiatives that are available at the federal level, as well as additional grants.
Interesting. Hey, we have a couple of questions from our viewers. Let's start with one from Vincent. Do you want to remove SROs from the school? And if so, how do you propose that would make our schools safer during a school shooting when the average response time to a school shooting is 7 minutes? I want to say that for our viewers, we are going to take your viewer questions and comments. So type them in, and we'll add them to the queue. All right, so let's go back to the question. In Vincent's question, what's your response to that, Paul?
So having law enforcement in schools does not make students feel any safer. Instead, it's making them feel targeted. We should be replacing that spending with mental health resources for students. Too often, they are involved in disciplinary processes, and that can lead to students being put in the criminal justice system, which just means that it's another school to prison pipeline and we need to stop that. We need to start using the PBIS system for positive behavior and start with getting mental health and human services for these students that are having issues.
Okay, interesting. All right. Let's go to our next one. Last show, we touched on the academics of Virginia Beach schools in relation to significant things kids might need to learn going forward, like tech and business. That's one of my personal interests as well. During the show, you provided some commentary on the ATC and a lack of communication and power for all kids to approach said programs. So would you like to expand the technology and skill options for our students? What are your thoughts?
I would. The first thing we need to point out, though, is the ATC, which has the information technology and computer sciences, has digital design and marketing, architecture, engineering, manufacturing, is only one aspect of our terrific opportunities that students have. Because over at all the high schools, we have the CTE programs, which help give students additional accreditation, as well as the Technical and Career Education Center over at Kellam High School, which includes opportunities to do air conditioning, refrigeration, HVAC, auto body, paint technology, automotive service technology, carpentry, construction, cosmetology, culinary arts, dental assisting, early childhood development, electricity, electronics, robotics. I mean, the list just continues all the way down. I mean, we've got welding, plumbing, heating. There's so many opportunities for our students. And I do not think that there's enough education about the programs that are available to any student that wants to take them and any parent that wants to support their child going through it. I think the information is just hidden and buried in the website and by administrations.
Interesting. Interesting. My thought was that I don't believe that students always make the best decisions by their sophomore year. And so when they wake up during their junior year or even in their senior year and they realize, I might be really better suited to move towards a skill-based education. I don't think they have those opportunities as readily. And I know when I worked at Green Run, there were some programs that ECPI brought to the table. But I don't think it was readily available to everybody. Interesting.
Right. But I think that, to your point, the Technical and Career Education Center would be a good way to transition any student that needs to into those programs. So.
Okay, Vincent Smith, do you support bringing Sal and Val back? What are your quick thoughts? Salutatorian and valedictorian, should we bring them back?
No, it's not considered a major factor for college applications. It affects courses or classes that students may choose, and it may actually prevent them from taking classes that may interest them because it doesn't score high enough for them, which would actually bring their GPA down in that instance. The Latin merit system is used by many school districts in a proficiency-based learning system. Meeting or exceeding standards defines success, and every student should be given the same opportunity to achieve proficiency and excel academically.
Okay, interesting. Okay, now that brings me to my next question. School safety extends into keeping kids and teachers healthy. We're rapidly approaching decision-making time for the fall. Let's assume the powers that be decide to have classes at schools. Regarding positive tests of teachers or students or administration, or all three for that matter, what reasonably should be a school-wide response regarding quarantines? And if it involved those being paid, how should sick days be accounted for as COVID isn't a normal situation?
Yeah, anyone that is affected should be able to step out of the school in order to properly quarantine. Students can move to distance learning, which is going to be an option for any student that wants to just take learning from or education from home. Teachers and administration should be able to stay out as long as needed. How this is funded and where it comes from in relation to the HR side of the house, I don't have an answer, as that is something I'm not prepared to discuss, but would be open to discussing the concerns of any of those involved and those that can explain what the financial impact would be. Money is already tight and you can't get any more out, so I'm not sure how we would address that.
Well, on the roadways, I don't endorse following too close to people. This isn't Talladega. Even if you have a safe car like my Jetta, a Jetta I got at Southern Volkswagen in Chesapeake, 1238 South Military Highway, by the way, make sure to stop in, say hey to Cynthia Rawlings and Charlie Roy, as they can secure you a car that you'd be safe in while following close. And speaking of follow-ups, I want to follow up on Jose's question regarding sick days. I'll note Virginia Beach's maternity leave policy for teachers is roughly 6 weeks of time at 60% pay. If there's to be anything like a full maternity leave, folks must stack up sick days to make up the income. Then they must deal with a lot of administration to get to that 60%, and if they require more time, that's a whole new problem. I understand having to look at this deeply at another time for costs and such, but we're curious here at the Beach Brothers if this is generally scratching at a deeper problem that Virginia Beach and the state of Virginia might want to look at regarding schools.
Yes, this is a problem, and it is one that will require Richmond to be involved. And as a nation, we are failing to meet the same level of benefits that are available throughout the rest of the developed world. When we get people in power that actually want to improve workers' lives, regardless of industry, we will see that change. And as it happens with government employees, we will see it roll out as a perk to any company.
All right. My next shout out is going to be my next business shout out is going to be to Coastal Breeze Car Wash. They are located at 4891 Virginia Beach Boulevard here in Virginia Beach. Awesome place. I mean, for you guys that are car buffs and love to detail your cars and spend time cleaning your car, your baby up and having it shining nice, stop in Kenton and John over at Coastal Breeze and tell them Jose and the Beach Brothers sent you. They have awesome packages there where you can either just get a single package for your car, or you can get a monthly plan and wash your car every day. Okay, and then that takes me to my next question. Conrad's question was generated from a teacher in Virginia Beach. How much of a link is there between teachers and administration in Virginia Beach City Public Schools? And should there be a repercussion-free zone in relation to teachers using their voice in talking about Virginia Beach City Public Schools?
I've said I wanted to change, and that is site-based administration. Each school is allowed to change any policy that is given out at the district level, and they can pick and choose what information is allowed to go above them to the district administration. And this needs to change because not just for the teachers, but for the parents and the students as well. Administrations need to be held accountable for the lack of communication and the information that flows in and out of them.
All right, good stuff. Good stuff. All right, great. All right, so your dealings with the school is exhaustive. You know, you have 3 kids, a single father. Man, yeah. So you get paperwork from all 3 schools, and you have to deal with paperwork from all 3 schools. You've mentioned before that you think there's a better way. So do you have a better way for parents to address the paperwork, and what's your plan?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, Parent Portal could be the one place that I verify all my students' information, when they're attending, what, how, if they need buses or anything. Second, any new information requested by any administration or district-wide should be able to be sent electronically and filled out electronically. Any parent registering their student has the option to opt in to get paper instead of having to make sure that everybody is sent the paperwork. It's not a good method. We're wasting a lot of printing cost in doing that.
Okay.
And
Okay.
the current method is archaic. We rely upon 5-year-olds to get papers to and from school. I mean, tell me the last time you trusted a 5-year-old to transport anything.
Yeah. Now I know when I had my 5-year-olds, my children are both graduates from Virginia Beach City Public Schools, but when they were 5-year-olds and we were just placing them in VB schools, we had to go through their bags every day just to make sure that we got the documents. Interesting. Quick question from Josh Kellogg. I'm assuming what would you suggest to have meaningful online education? You're the tech guy. Paul, you're the tech guy. So meaningful online education. Thanks, Josh, for your question. And if you have a question or comment, pop it in. We're not going through all of them immediately, but we will make sure that we get the important and relevant and responsible ones on. So, Josh, thank you for your question. Paul, meaningful online education.
Yeah. So one of the websites that I actually have my kids work through is Khan Academy. And I think we could mimic that as a internal for the school. But if you've never seen Khan Academy, it's KHAN. Go look at it, because I can set it up. I know there are some teachers that do utilize it within the school district, within the area. The ability for me to assign work for my students, or have a teacher that can take that information and assign my student through their account assignments is beneficial for us to be able to work together. It starts bringing a cohesion between the parent and the teacher and the student. It allows us to really work together on that. I think that there's a lot of things that have been put in place where they're trying to do stuff, but they don't really have a technology background, and they don't understand what they're looking for, or how to get the requirements and align those to the technology. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for us to make meaningful changes.
Okay. All right. Now, accountability is a two-way street. Some school board candidates we want to, or have brought on, speak on discipline, and they mean so regarding administration and teachers dealing with kids. But I bet you want to see good discipline on the school board and in administration too. Can the entire system be held as accountable as we want kid discipline to be?
Yes, the entire system can be held accountable. First, let me reiterate that this is where technology can help us excel. Currently, the processes are paper-based processes. Again, and as I have talked to child advocates and parents, teachers alike, it always seems to escape the administration where paperwork went and whom should be held responsible. If we enforce a technology-based solution, we can verify who gave what directions and what actions they took. And as for the students, we have a PBIS system in place, but talking with teachers, it comes back to a paper-based process that makes it hard to track, time intensive to fill out.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. yeah. It can definitely be a challenge, and I think a better system can happen. So,
Yeah.
I'm a teacher. I've also been a counselor, and I know that being a teacher is an arduous task. So throwing workloads and now the pandemic, and it really impacts teacher morale. So what are your thoughts on the current activities to impact teacher morale? And how do you think we can improve on our strategies to impact positive teacher morale?
Yeah, I think we need to start working with our teachers in order to find out what we can do to help them. A lot of times we're mandating that they put in, all this time to get in touch with students and to deal with small menial tasks. And one of the things that we need to be looking at is process automation. If a student doesn't turn in the paperwork, instead of having the teacher go through and call, write an email, and all that, we can send a text message. We can message the student. We can message the parent. We can automate the notice that the information, the student didn't turn in the work, the student didn't take the test. There's
Right.
So many ways that we can start addressing those meaningless tasks that are time sucks for teachers, and
Right.
giving teachers back time. I think that's going to be a big thing if we can help get their morale up, just based on giving them time back. So.
Okay. Interesting. Man, we have a barrage of questions and comments. All right. Let's take it from the bottom and go to the top. Let's see. All discipline is digital and available on Schoology, not on paper. That's interesting. I've used Schoology. I'm starting to like Schoology. I do like Khan Academy. Okay. And Teresa says, yes, good discipline. All students held accountable. All right. Let's see what Rebecca states. How about consistency in technology across the schools? It's frustrating when every teacher uses a different tool or method to communicate. What are your thoughts on that?
I think I've made a few teachers mad at me because that right there, like on my cell phone, I have 22 separate applications. I completely understand what Rebecca's saying. The number of websites that I receive school-based information from, whether it's VB Schools, S'mores, Weebly, like the number of possibilities is just kind of ridiculous. And I think that our school system is paying for way too many of these tools because it's a shiny object syndrome. They see something and they don't know what actually fills the need, so they go out and buy everything. And
shiny object syndrome.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Miss Baker, I'm laughing because I just realized I didn't do my dishes, and you can see them in the back. I gotta do better. Will you support armed support to all schools to ensure student safety against shooters?
So this is going to go back to the Tim Anderson plan. I'm willing to bet that's exactly what it is. Tim Anderson proposed a solution that would allow teachers to become deputized and let them carry guns in class. Past the fact that we would be arming teachers, the plan was offered as a zero-sum cost. And unless Tim Anderson is willing to pay them $9 million directly to the school district for the initial cost that was given as an assessment when I believe it was Wavy did a cost analysis on what it would actually cost. I can't see getting behind even considering that when we haven't met our we've got budget shortfalls for buildings, we've got budget shortfalls for paying teachers, and
Mhm.
the entire state just recoiled in terms of how much we're going to get in tax. So
Okay, yeah, okay, interesting. All right, let's see what Faith asks. What changes would you make to the curriculum to support anti-racist education? Woo! Yo, we're going in tonight. Yo, Teresa says, what are everyone's thoughts on white privilege? I've never experienced it. Oh my gosh. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Let's go back to Faith's question.
So I think one of the first things that we should bring up is that the site-based administration allows for individual schools to have what are called seclusion rooms, and it's basically a room that they let they take a child out of class, and then they put that child in the seclusion room, and they don't have any recourse. The student can't leave. It's mentally hard for a child. And, it's like having solitary confinement in prison. We know based on studies and everything else that it is detrimental to the mental health of any person that's in prison. Has to be in solitary confinement. And in this case, we're putting a child in solitary confinement, and I think it's not beneficial. We need to rethink that strategy, and we need to start looking at how we can change that. And I think that's one step. I can't say that that's going to fix everything, but we need to start working with our students and finding out what it is. If right now, a lot of times a student gets disciplined in school and they get expelled, and that's not going to help them. We need to find a way to actually help these students and get them the education that they need, get them the help that they need. Students that are dealing with problems that we've never had to deal with, being homeless, not having food on the table. These are real issues for a lot of students, and I can't say that I'm going to be able to fix them all on the school board, but we need to be mindful of what we can do to help these students and how we can help them, find the resources that they need in order to be successful. If we ever want to get to, a point where we're bringing up a new generation that's going to be better than us, we need to invest in their education. We need to invest in their lives. And when we do that through meaningful work, it'll show.
Okay, yeah, that's a tough question. I guess we'd have to define anti-racist education. Interesting answer. I'm going to jump, Conrad, with your permission. Jose, with your permission. I want to jump on one of the more difficult questions that I've seen. All right. So this is probably one of the most difficult questions I've seen. We have 3 children that attended school with VPCS, and I feel that my older 2 were far more prepared for college and the world of work than we fear our younger ones will be due to the change in school board policies. The expectations, deadlines, and instructions were much more rigorous 10 years ago than now. If elected, I'm going to add that, if elected, how will you ensure our children will be prepared for the accountability, rigor, and discipline they will require in college and or the work? Man, that's a good, hey, Kim, good question.
That's a good question right there. Good job,
question,
Kim.
sis. Good question.
Good job,
she's throwing bows. All right.
Going straight to the throat.
Salute that. What's your answer?
So first of all, I think it comes down to having our education practices change. One of my daughters actually went to ODS, and the other two did go to Plaza Middle School and Lansdowne Middle School. And I've seen, a variety of how middle schools do stuff. And, I've already gotten 2 high schools. I'm going to get a third in another year. But you're right. It's different at every school, and we need to standardize how that education works. We know what works over at ODS, and it's not just for the intellectually gifted. We know that some of those programs would work in other schools, and we need to educate our teachers and educate the rest of the schools on what works and what doesn't work. If we're not willing to start talking about where there's failings, then we're never going to get out of this problem. And we've got to start getting our teachers involved. We've got to get our parents, child advocates. There's a range of people that need to be a part of this conversation. It's not just going to be me telling everybody this is what we're going to do. It's going to have to be a discussion. There's going to be some people that are going to have some feelings hurt. It's just going to be the ways that it is.
I got a question regarding athletics. So we just learned today that the NCAA, Big Ten, some other divisions are having conference-only schedules, and following on next week with all these cases still surging, they may just completely shutter the entirety of college athletics. This makes us wonder about Virginia Beach's athletics here in the high school and middle schools. Do you think maybe it's a possibility that we're going to be looking forward to just shuttering the entire season?
It's a real possibility. We have to be aware that it could happen. I have no idea on how to even plan for that or what the impact would be. So, but it is something we need to be aware of, and we need to be prepared that yes, it's going to impact a lot of people. I can't hear you.
Leah Brown has a question. What is your plan for dealing with discipline and protecting students in regards to the high volume of fights in schools? PBIS is not working.
Yeah, well, first of all, we've got to start addressing, issues before they become fights. A lot of times these aren't things that just happen. It's not like a match and a spark and it happened. A lot of times these are compounded issues. It can be issues related to bullying. It can be related to issues at home. It can be related to all sorts of different things. And I think if we start working with students and talking with them, we automate a lot of processes where our counselors are not able to do student interviews, and they're not able to work with the students because they are filling out paperwork. I've gone to multiple city school board meetings and listened to counselors stand up there and go, I took a job being the lead counselor, did not know that it was going to be that much more work. You can go back and look at, I think that was February. Last year, the middle school counselor over at Lansdowne Middle went up and said, that they don't have enough time in the day in order to take care of all the paperwork that they need to do. And when I was over at Kingsville, you've got counselors that get inundated, and it's all because of paper-based processes. Automating that stuff removes barriers. It removes issues, and it allows the counselors to get back to actually counseling and working with our students in order to make meaningful change.
Interesting. Michelle has a really interesting question. How do you feel about the changes proposed by the Southern Poverty Law Center to the history curriculum? That's loaded. That's pretty loaded. Okay, go ahead, Michelle. All right. Any thoughts on that, Paul?
I honestly have no idea what the SPLC actually proposed, so I don't have an answer for that. I don't know what the question actually pertains to. So,
all right. All right. Wow. Any thoughts on that, Conrad?
I first want to know what they are.
Okay.
And then I might have some thoughts afterwards.
Okay. Vincent says paper isn't the only devil causing every problem in our schools. You can't fix everything with tech.
You save a lot of money. Yeah, save a lot of money and time, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, it saves a lot of time and money. It's right. It's not going to fix every problem in the schools. I mean, you can't, but you can't fix problems if you can't work to get through them either. And right now, everybody is dealing with paper. And they like to say that we've done a lot of improvements and we've about a lot of changes that help us with our students learning. But if I give you a toolbox and ask you to pick out the perfect screwdriver and you picked out 40 of them, you're not doing me any good. We've got to start working through the problem, and we've got to start addressing things meaningful. So
All right. And Faith says that the schools are already basically paperless. Here's a really interesting question. Rebecca Lee Bragg, why is it we only give the newest and best methods to our best kids and leave the rest to flounder with outdated, archaic methods? Our vulnerable populations would better benefit from these new methods and teaching styles than the kids who have proven that they can function just fine in their given environment. Whoa. Salute Rebecca for that one. I like that. Yes, sir. What's your thoughts, Paul? What are your thoughts?
So first
Why
of all,
we give the best and go ahead.
To address the our schools are basically paperless. Yeah, you showed me that whenever our schools go back to school, when our kids go back to school, it's not essentially paperless. I get a stack of papers anytime teachers decide they want to go on a field trip. They have to fill out paper forms. None of this stuff is like they have to go to a file share, print something off, then get it signed. That's not paperless. Paperless means that we've removed the paper from even printing. So that's the first thing. Why is we're only giving the newest and best materials to our best kids? We've got to stop that. We've got to start working with providing all of our students good education. It can't be something where it's only given to one set of kids. The kids over ODS don't need everything. We should work to make sure that it's equitable across the entire district, across every school.
This does make me remember something. I frequently go to the Republican breakfast, and I get to see Rebecca there very frequently. She's a friend, and I notice she helps Sal Green run collegiate a lot. So would we like to touch on the concept of charter schools in Virginia Beach, whether they're good or they have drawbacks or just neutral? What might be your opinion?
Say that again.
The Green Run Collegiate, Rebecca helps out with that a lot.
Okay.
Something like charter schools in Virginia Beach, a good thing? They provide good models, or they perhaps draw back against the funding of overall schools entirely? What might be your opinion on that?
So Green Run Collegiate is unique in that it is a charter school, but it's run by the school board and the school district. I think that anything that's run by the district, I can get behind. We can, take that as a way to do improvements. And I think if you're going to look at it from a perspective of, should we allow for-profit charter schools? No, that's not going to benefit us, and it's just going to help a select few. Right now, Green Run Collegiate allows for Green Run Collegiate allows for anybody to get into the lottery, and it's a lottery pick. So
it's also unique because it's a pure lottery. Any thoughts on that?
I think any student that wants to go should apply. I think that it is good that they're not picking specific students, and they're not allowed to just pick the best and the brightest. They get what they get based on who applies, and who wants to go, who wants that opportunity.
All right, good stuff. Good stuff. Well, we need to kind of bring this to a close. So, Paul, any last statements?
No, I thank you for having me on. Thank you for the opportunity. Glad I got a lot of good questions out of the comments too. Seems like it's been a very active chat tonight.
Oh yeah.
All right, Paul. Thank you, my friend. Take care. Woo! Hey, they went in deep tonight, man.
Did they? I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna have to start coming with a whistle.
Woo! Salute to Rebecca Lee Bragg. She's a friend of the party, a friend of the Beach Brothers, and she is bringing the heat tonight. Vincent Smith had a lot of comments. Josh Kellogg, thank you for tapping in. Cameron Baker. Wow. I mean, that statement that Cameron said, can you speak to your stance beyond paperwork? Oh man. Okay. So and then wow. How much time have you spent in the schools? So Paul, I really suggest that you take some time and go back and respond to all of the comments that our great beachers have left. Take some time and do that, Paul. These are people that are looking to vote for you or against you. So please respond to them. You've been checking out the Beach Brothers Show. I'm Seiko Varner. I'm the entrepreneur. Next to me is our good friend Conrad. He's running for the school system. He's running for the city council. And next to him is our good brother Jose, our beach bully. So Conrad, any last words?
Well, it was great to have on Mr. Tailcamp. The Beach Brothers greatly appreciate him coming on, and we hope that we can develop or Mr. Paul Tailcamp can develop a strong campaign for at-large school board seats. And I want all our viewers to go to Mr. Paul's website, drop a donation off for the cause, go to his Facebook, like that too. And we also hope going forward, Mr. Tailcamp, you'll be ready for coming on again in the future, should we be successful in getting a big school board forum on this very channel.
All right, good stuff. Jose, any last words?
No, thank you to our viewers for chiming in with those questions. Those are real good questions, and keep watching, keep sending in those great questions.
Good stuff. I want to bring to everybody's attention that if you're interested in joining the Beach Brothers Show, get in contact with Conrad. He's our Politico, and so he gets all the candidates, the seated politicians and the candidates on the show. So if you're interested in joining us, get in contact with Conrad. He'll take care of you. Get your financial house in order. And if you're interested in highlighting your business on the show, like we did today with the Volkswagen location, with
Coastal Breeze,
and with Tally and Twine, then
yeah.
get in contact with Jose. He'll make sure that happens. He'll make sure that happens for you. And I'm Seiko Varner. I handle credit repair and private money lending to real estate investors. But today and on the Beach Brothers show, I'm the producer, and I'm so glad to be a part of the three Beach Brothers. Yeah. Seiko Varner, Conrad running for city council, and Jose. We'll talk with you guys later. All right. Take care and keep it. Oh, last words. Jose, last words. You were
Have a great night. Thanks for coming out.
VB1.
There you go. VB1 all day, everybody.
VB1. My
Yes,
last
sir.
words. Power to the protesters. Reparations are the issue for the decade. You guys take care. Keep it beachy.
Take care of each other.